Subject, Karmic ex got dumped and comes crawling back. Soon she'll get my revenge. Hey, true story. My name's Kent, and I've been following your channel for a little while now. I stumbled across it in one of those late night YouTube rabbit holes. I had just typed in something like, cheating ex gets karma, and your channel popped up. I started listening, and before I knew it, I had binged hours of stories. Man, I've got to hand it to you. Your storytelling is addictive. It's like therapy for me. Hearing men from all over the world who've gone through what I went through, and sometimes even worse. It makes me feel less crazy, less alone. Anyway, I figured it was finally my turn to share. My story has some heavy moments, but it also has karma, a downfall, and, if I'm being honest, a little bit of revenge. How I met her. I met my ex-wife in the most random of ways. It wasn't at work. It wasn't through dating apps. It wasn't even through mutual hobbies. Nope. I met her at my nephew's Sweet 16 party. Crazy, right? I was just there as Uncle Kent. Eating too much barbecue, playing a little basketball in the driveway with the teenagers, trying to act like the fun uncle. She was there as a friend of my sister-in-law. At first glance, she wasn't just pretty. She was magnetic. The type of woman who walks in and the whole room shifts without her even trying. Her laugh carried. Her smile was wide, and I swear, the second we locked eyes, it felt like we'd known each other for years. I know that sounds corny, but that's exactly how it was. The more we talked, the more I realized how easy it felt. Some conversations feel like work. This one felt like breathing. And here's where it gets wild. We didn't wait. We snuck away from the party and hooked up that very night. Yeah, not the classiest beginning, but I'll be honest, it felt electric, like we had been waiting for that moment. From that night forward, we were inseparable. We were dating immediately. I'd pick her up after work. We'd cook together. We'd go on spontaneous trips. It was fast, fiery, and for a while, it was good. Marriage life. 1 year to the day after we met, we got married. People thought we were rushing. My mom sat me down and asked if I was sure. My dad raised an eyebrow and said, "Son, make sure it's love, not lust." But I brushed them all off because I was convinced. Our marriage lasted 5 years, and for most of that time, it was good, at least on the surface. We did the normal married couple stuff, movie nights, cooking experiments that ended in burnt pans, family trips, long talks in the middle of the night. I bought a house with her. We painted the rooms together. We had plans for kids, someday. But here's the thing about marriage. You start to notice little cracks before the earthquake hits. The first few years, she was affectionate, attentive, always wanting to do things together. But around year 4, she changed. She became distant. She started saying she was too tired for intimacy. She was glued to her phone more than usual. And then came the bombshell. I think we should take a break. One night, out of nowhere, she sits me down on the couch and says, "I think we should take a break. I just need to figure myself out. I don't want a divorce, just some space." Now, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I've got common sense. Who the hell takes a break from a marriage unless there's someone else in the picture? You don't pause vows. That's not how it works. I got this gut punch feeling right away. Something was off. I didn't blow up at her, though. I played it cool, told her I'd think about it, but inside, alarms were going off like crazy. The discovery. A few nights later, when she was in the shower, I did something I'd never done before. I went through her purse and her phone. I know some people will judge me for that, but I needed to know if I was going crazy. And sure enough, I wasn't. The phone had it all. Flirty messages, hotel receipts, pictures. She was cheating, not just once, but consistently. She'd been seeing some guy she met at work. My stomach dropped. I remember sitting on the edge of the bed, her phone in my hand, thinking, 5 years. I gave her 5 years, and this is what I get. When she came out of the shower, towel wrapped around her hair, I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just said, So this is what you meant by a break. She froze, looked at the phone in my hand, and I'll never forget her face. First shock, then anger, not guilt, not apology, but anger at me for finding out. That told me everything I needed to know. Divorce and her cocky attitude. From there, the marriage was done. I filed for divorce and she didn't fight it much. Why? Because she thought she was upgrading. She carried herself like she had just won some prize. Her whole vibe was, "You'll regret losing me. I'm going to live it up with this new guy." She acted smug in court. She strutted around like she was the one in control. And me? I kept quiet, signed the papers, and walked away with my dignity. I'll be honest, it hurt like hell. Divorce is never easy, no matter how justified. There were nights I stared at the ceiling, wondering what I did wrong, wondering why I wasn't enough. But I also knew deep down, cheaters don't win in the long run. Karma comes knocking. Fast forward 4 months. I had started healing. I was working out more, reconnecting with old friends, actually enjoying the quiet of my house without the constant drama. And then, guess who shows up at my door? Yep, my ex-wife. But this time, she didn't have the same swagger. Her hair was messy. Her clothes were wrinkled. She looked 10 years older than when I last saw her. She had tears in her eyes. She told me her new man had taken everything. He drained her bank account. He used her credit cards. He kicked her out. She was homeless, sleeping in a tent, literally. She said the tent had a hole in it, and she was cold and wet from the rain. And then, the kicker, she wanted to come back. She said maybe we could even remarry, start fresh. I looked her dead in the eyes and said, absolutely the hell not. She collapsed on my doorstep, crying, begging. She even tried hugging my legs, but I shut the door. The revenge. Now here's where my story takes a turn. I know I shouldn't have done this, but I'm human. And revenge, it's tempting, especially when karma already gave you a head start. She kept trying to contact me for weeks. Texts, calls, even letters. I ignored most of it, but one day I got an idea. I agreed to meet her for coffee. She showed up looking like a shadow of her old self. She was so eager, so desperate. She thought maybe I was softening. We talked and she started spilling all her regrets. She admitted the cheating. She admitted she thought she was trading up. She admitted she was wrong. She asked if I'd give her one more chance. I told her maybe, if she proved she was serious. And here's where my revenge came in. I made her jump through hoops. I made her run errands for me, pick things up, cook dinner at my house, basically act like my servant. I know it sounds petty, but I wanted her to feel the humiliation she put me through. After a while, once I had enough, I told her straight up, I was never taking you back. I just wanted you to see what it feels like to be used. Her face dropped. She stormed out, cursing me, and that was the last time I saw her. Reflection. Do I feel proud of what I did? Not entirely. Revenge feels good in the moment, but it doesn't fill the void. What really filled the void was moving on, living my life without her, building myself back up. But I'll be honest, part of me doesn't regret it. She burned me bad, and she got burned even worse. That's karma. So that's my story, true story. I hope some guy out there listening hears this and knows that when your gut tells you something is wrong, you're probably right. And also, that karma always comes back around. Hey, I'm back. The way her life has spiraled has been both shocking and, in a twisted way, not surprising at all. I want to give an update because it's one of those stories that proves karma doesn't just knock once. It keeps knocking until the lesson is learned. When I found out she was in the hospital, a few weeks after I wrote my first email, I got a random phone call. It was her sister. Now, I'll be honest, I didn't even want to answer when I saw the name on the caller ID. Her family never really liked me much, or at least that's how I felt, but curiosity got the better of me. Her sister's voice was trembling. She told me my ex was in a mental hospital. She had tried to end her life after a particularly rough night. I don't want to go into the gory details of how, but let's just say it was serious enough that if someone hadn't found her when they did, she wouldn't be here. When I hung up, I just sat in silence. I didn't know how to feel. Part of me thought, well, that's what happens when you play with fire. Another part of me thought, damn, that's the mother of all tragedies, even if she did it to herself. I didn't hate her. I hated what she did to me. But I'm not stone cold enough to hear that and feel nothing. Why her family wouldn't help her. Her sister and I ended up talking longer. That's when I learned the bigger picture. I asked why no one in her family took her in when she showed up on my doorstep months earlier, crying, begging me for a second chance, saying she had nowhere to go. Back then, I just assumed they didn't want to get in the middle of our drama, but the truth was way deeper than that. Apparently, after she hooked up with her affair partner, the guy she left me for, she started doing drugs with him. I didn't even know she was into that world. I never saw signs of it in our marriage. Sure, she drank sometimes, but I never suspected she'd go down that path. According to her sister, it started small, just some recreational stuff at parties with him. Then it got heavier. And when you're on that path, money runs dry fast, and she didn't have the guy's financial backing anymore once he bailed on her. So what did she do? She started stealing from her own family. Her mom had jewelry go missing. Her dad's tools disappeared from his garage. She even swiped her nephew's gaming console and tried to pawn it. And when she wasn't stealing, she was manipulating, asking for loans she never paid back, making up fake emergencies just to get quick cash. Her family caught on quick. They all talked to each other, connected the dots, and realized she was burning bridges left and right. That's why nobody wanted her in their house. It wasn't just my gut telling me to slam the door. It was everyone's. The manipulation game. The more I learned, the more I realized just how far she had fallen. Her sister told me she would cry and beg, spin stories about how she was getting clean, how this time was different. She'd use her own nieces and nephews as excuses like, "Don't you want me to be there for them?" She even guilt-tripped her parents about abandoning their daughter, but every time they gave in, she burned them again. One time, her dad let her stay a weekend, and she stole cash right out of his wallet. Another time, her mom gave her grocery money, and instead she bought drugs. After enough betrayals, the family cut her off completely. Hearing all that made me think about our marriage. Was she already this manipulative back then, and I just didn't see it? Or did the drugs make it worse? I'll never know. But I do know she had a way of bending people's emotions. She'd put on the tears, play the victim, and for a while it worked on me. It worked on her family too. But eventually, even the most loving relatives have a breaking point. My feelings about her rock bottom. When I found out she tried to off herself, I was conflicted. On one hand, I thought, that's what happens when you burn every bridge you have. On the other hand, I wouldn't wish that kind of pain on anyone, not even her. I thought about the girl I met at my nephew's Sweet 16. That girl was laughing, full of life, magnetic. She didn't look like someone who would someday end up homeless, stealing from family, strung out on drugs, and in a psych ward. It blows my mind how fast someone's life can unravel when they make the wrong choices. And yet, I also reminded myself, I didn't cause this. She did. Every step of the way she had chances to turn back. She had family. She had me. She had people who cared, but she chose a different road. The conversations with her family. I ended up having a couple more conversations with her sister and even her mom. They were desperate to vent, I think. They told me things I never knew. Her mom said she used to sneak into the house late at night, high as a kite, and raid the fridge like a raccoon. She said her eyes looked empty, like she wasn't even her daughter anymore. Her dad said he once caught her trying to break into his locked shed to steal power tools. Her sister said the worst part was the lying. She couldn't trust a word she said anymore. Even if she was telling the truth, no one could believe it. That's how far gone she was. Listening to all that, I didn't feel vindicated. I felt sad. But I also felt a weird sense of relief, like, okay, it wasn't just me she screwed over. It wasn't just me who saw her true colors. How I see her now. I don't hate her. I don't love her. What I feel now is pity mixed with distance. I pity her because she threw her life away. I keep my distance because I know she's dangerous. Not physically, but emotionally. She's the kind of person who drags everyone around her into her chaos. The mental hospital might be rock bottom for her, or maybe it's just another stop on the way down. That's up to her, but I can't be part of that journey. My own life update. Since my divorce and all this drama, I've been rebuilding my life. I started hitting the gym hard. I've been reconnecting with old buddies. I've even gone on a couple of dates. Not rushing into anything, just testing the waters. The funny thing is, the more I focus on myself, the less I care about her. When she first cheated, I thought I'd never get over it. I thought it would haunt me forever. But now, I look at my life and realize I dodged a bullet. I've been saving money, planning a trip out west, and honestly, just enjoying my peace. That's my revenge. Not the little games I played on her when she came crawling back, but the fact that I get to live free while she's stuck in her own mess. Lessons learned. If I could pass on anything to the men listening, it's this. Trust your gut. If your wife says she wants a break, she's cheating. Period. Don't ignore the red flags. The signs were there before I found the proof. Protect your peace. Once you're out, stay out. Don't let pity drag you back in. People rarely change unless they truly want to, and most don't. Her being in a mental hospital doesn't make me happy, but it does remind me that choices have consequences. She chose lies, cheating, drugs, and manipulation. She reaped the harvest she planted. Closing. So that's the update true story. I don't know where her path goes from here, but I do know where mine does, and it's nowhere near her. Thanks for giving guys like me a place to share. Maybe some man out there will hear this and realize he doesn't have to keep rescuing someone who's determined to drown themselves.